Hi everybody, I'm Dr. Sutton. I teach AP Capstone, AP English Literature here at Chisholm Trail High School, and I apologize for not having made it into your English pre-AP or AP class yesterday when I talked about the AP Capstone program. There are so many interested students in all the classes that we have here at Chisholm Trail High School, and I wanted to make certain that I got everybody's questions answered and addressed what I could. So I'm sending out this video to be able to kind of communicate what the program is, share some information about it, and there'll be a pamphlet that your teachers will hand to you that will give you a bit of a brief overview. When I get to the end of this, I'm also going to talk about an opportunity for you and your parents to come to the school on February 12th to learn more about the Capstone program. So this isn't a case where I'm going to flip through a bunch of PowerPoint slides. I just wanted to have a background component to make certain we're focused on what we're talking about. So I am talking about AP Capstone. The AP Capstone program is actually in its second year here at Chisholm Trail High School. Last year we started by offering the first of the courses, AP Seminar, and this year we have a section of AP Seminar and a section of AP Research. The courses are replacement opportunities for English 3 and 4 if you choose to do that. You can take, of course, AP 3 and AP 4 if you choose to, or on level 3 and 4 or dual enrollment, but they can count as your English credits for your junior and your senior year. Now, let's talk about what it actually is, now that you know that where it can count as far as our high school graduation is considered. AP Capstone consists of two courses, Seminar and Research. Let me ask you a question. Are any of you sick and tired of taking classes where you're told exactly what questions you have to answer? The questions are created by somebody else about something they were interested in, and you're responsible for perhaps providing an answer on your own, or they give you a limited number of sources that you have to use to generate your response, say like a DBQ or a synthesis essay. If you're sick of that type of stuff, then Seminar may actually be the right course for you. AP Seminar begins with about 12 weeks of teaching you how to do academic level research, to think like a scholar. The first week, I usually pull in a random topic that I found just to be able to start the process of thinking. This past year, it was, I had the Coca-Cola Wars, a war between Pepsi and Coca-Cola. I know Texas Dr. Pepper usually is the winner, but the Coca-Cola Wars were a big thing during the 1980s, and they've continued on since then, with Coca-Cola and Pepsi constantly competing against one another for market shares, to be able to be more productive, make more cash. And so I thought, hey, you know what? This will be a really unusual conversation to have. And so I brought in a whole bunch of different sources that talked about the Cola Wars. I had articles that talked about them. I had the commercials that were appeared, including different celebrities and whatnots. I had some of the billboards and artwork that was created to be able to draw in advertisements for the different colas. I even had artwork that was meant to insult or criticize the Cola Wars in general for them making, kids overweight and people unhealthy. And I even brought in the conversation of the Pepsi challenge that existed in the 1980s. It was this stand that they'd have in malls. You'd go to it, this display, and they'd have 2 cups of soda, and you're supposed to taste it and tell which one of them you liked better. And whichever one you liked better, inevitably it'd lift up, and poof, Pepsi. Here's a secret: if you knocked over the can that had the Coca-Cola on it, it was a Pepsi can. They were both Pepsi. But the thing is they went to extreme measures. So I showed all of these different things to them, looked at the class and said, what do you want to talk about? And he looked confused. Well, what do you mean, what do we want to talk about? What question are you wanting us to answer? Whatever question you want to ask. So we spent some time looking at the different questions we could ask from a whole different level of perspectives. Not just one. This isn't a history class or an English class. This is any content that you can do an AP class in can feed into this one. It can be art, theater, music, science, psychology, sociology, government, economics, history, English. All sorts of different areas that can feed into this one course. You investigate what you enjoy. You look at topics from the perspectives that you want to look at them from. So we worked together, we created a single research question, and each student figured out how to answer that question using their unique lens, from looking at it from a standpoint that they enjoyed. They went and found research that supported their ideas, wrote a small little paper about it, created a presentation, shared the presentation of their information and findings, and we went through and had a good conversation. The next week, it was Colin Kaepernick, Take a Knee. We talked about, looked at a whole bunch of different sources again, news articles, TV articles. We looked at everything from him kneeling to the point when he was sitting on the bench, conversation he had with that football player about how to actually be able to protest more respectfully. They decided on taking a knee. We talked about the purpose behind the movement, the criticism that he received. And then we had the deeper conversation about, whether or not he still was conveying the message that he meant to convey. I mean, the message was supposed to be about inequality in the court systems and judicial system for people of color. And the question became, was the kneeling at this point more about the inequality, or was it just about kneeling in respect for the United States of America? So we spent time looking at it. Everybody could choose whatever perspective they want, whatever point. We had all these sorts of different discussions. It was a really deep conversation where a lot of what was taking place was driven by the students. Yes, those first 2 weeks had me providing examples, but that's just to be able to frame the questions and the conversation. Week 3, I stood up in front of the class and said, now what? I meant it. I had no more sources I was going to provide. I wasn't going to tell people what they had to think, or where they had to question, or where they had to investigate. Where do they want to go? We put a whole list of different topics up on a gigantic Post-it note, and then we started voting. As everybody could choose, say, their top 2 or 3. And then we eliminated the ones that didn't have enough votes, and then it was down to maybe the top 2. And we eliminated until we were able to pair everybody up into small groups, and they were able to have a topic that they chose to investigate. After they had their topic chosen, they then spent some time doing some research, figuring out, what information they existed out there, what type of questions may come up to their mind, and they all came back together and created a research question that allowed all of their lenses, all their perspectives to be considered. Then after they finished that, they went back to their individual lenses and they sought research to answer it. They wrote a paper that answered it, came back together, created a collaborative, a group answer to it in a PowerPoint presentation, shared the PowerPoint presentation, shared the paper for evaluation, and that was that unit. Somewhere around week 10 to week 13, we move into AP mock exam practice, so we practice the test. January 7th of this year, we started testing. Now, I had somebody in one of the classes state that sounded a little bit dumb, but let's think about this for a moment. A traditional AP class, your entire course is decided by about 3 hours of you sitting inside of one of our gyms taking the AP exam. 3 hours. That's it. Your entire coursework, everything that you've done, the score you're going to earn boils down to 3 hours. Seminar's not that way. In seminar, you're assigned that we have a couple of performance tasks. We have 5 assignments in total. Let me go over here so you can see it. So 5 assignments. The first 2 go together, the next 2 go together, and then the 5th one is by its lonesome self. So live long and prosper. So the first one, a group project just like the one I described. What topic does the College Board assign? They don't. So what do the students research? Whatever they want. We do the same process. List everything that we may want to investigate. We go through the investigation, and they create their research question, do their research, write their paper, develop their PowerPoint presentation, and then they do their presentation. I score the presentation here. So let's think about that for a second. Most of your AP exams you send off to a room of professors and teachers that you'll never see before in your life. I'm grading a piece of your exam here. Then the paper goes online to the College Board to read. Then we go to an individual piece. Have you done a DBQ? I'm not a big fan of DBQs and synthesis. I understand the point. I think they're useful. We do use them in college and in higher thinking. But they're not so much fun because you have to use those sources. And a lot of times I would have difficulty because I don't like the sources. It's not that I disagree with them or anything else like that. I just don't like them. Well, here's the fun thing. Seminar, task 2. So over here on this, we got the first 2 done. The third one, they're going to give you a bunch of stimulus pieces. Last year we had stuff from smells all the way to research on three-dimensional art pieces that were designed to trick the eye, to we even had a piece on Through the Looking Glass, so you're talking about Alice in Wonderland level things. And this year we have a TED Talk. What question did the students have to answer? They weren't given a question. They were given an opportunity. Read through the sources, pick two you like. Pick one of them to really drive your inspiration for where you want to go. The other one will just be a secondary source. Then go look at the research that's out there. As you're looking through the research and connecting it to that piece that you found, or pieces, you'll design your research question. Then, from there, answer the question through whatever lens you choose. Build a presentation after you write the paper. Present here. I grade the presentation. Paper goes to the College Board. That's 4 of them done. Number 5. 5th is a sit-down exam. It's 2 hours in length. The first part is annotated bibliography. That sounds daunting, but it's just a simple way of recording sources that you found. I teach students how to do it at the very onset of the class, and by the time you sit for the test, you'll have done a dozen or so of them, and they'll be easy. The second part, remember that part 3 where it's the individual project with those synthesis pieces? Same thing again. So, you do have a really different experience. So let's consider what we've got though. Traditional AP course, 3 hours to do it. Synthesis, you get a chance to work for about a month and a half. They got their first topic in January 7th. They will present next week on Friday and the following week on Monday. About a month and a half. Next week they get the sources for part 2 and they will work on them and submit the final products completely done by April 29th. They'll sit for the exam for 2 hours on one day. A little bit better chance to be able to pass the exam with how things are set up. Seminar has an 85% pass rate. Research, AP Research, how that course works, it's you take one single topic, you develop your research question, you conduct your research, and then you end up earning you do your presentation, you defend it, and that's the whole grade. It's your one piece that you put together. Now, you do AP Capstone, it replaces English 3. What does it get you? First, it does replace AP, English 3 and 4, and it is an AP course, so it still has that 10-point modifier. All AP courses do. 2. There is a box on the Common Application for Colleges that your counselors can check that will allow you to get moved forward as an AP Capstone candidate when people consider your applications for a college. So say instead of being in the 40th percentile, you'd move up to something higher. I can't say where exactly you land because there's a bunch of factors that are brought into considering GPA and college ranking, everything else like that, but that would suddenly be something that would help. In an Ivy League school, you would have a piece that was completed that you could submit to the college with your application that would suddenly move you ahead. I don't mean to be a dream killer in any way, and I'm not going to, but if you're applying to Rice or Harvard or any of those competitive universities, GPA won't do much for you. Most of the students that apply to that, they're going to have a high GPA. Ethnicity, extracurriculars, things like a capstone program, those are going to help make a difference. With being able to send a research or a seminar paper, it shows that not only do you have the potential to do college research, it shows that you're doing research and work at a senior level or beyond. That's quite a plus over everybody else. There's an AP Capstone scholarship. If you complete the Capstone program and you pass 4 AP exams as well, you get a College Board diploma. If you don't have the 4 classes but you still pass Capstone, you need a Capstone certificate. Both of them qualify for that check on the applications. I'm not trying to sell Capstone over Lang or Dual or Lit. I think that it's a tremendous skill set that it teaches students. I believe it really gives you an advantage compared to other students and other classes. But I think there's good stuff that happens in all three of the other classes. In AP Lang, we have a phenomenal AP Lang teacher here at Chisholm Trail High School. We're very fortunate to have someone that's able to guide students to be not only successful in the exam, but beyond that particular class. AP Lit, I think the foundation is good. I'm a little biased because, I am the teacher of it, so I hope I do a good job. Dual enrollment, I've taught dual enrollment for TCC for years, and again, phenomenal option for students to do. Seminar and research are just options. They're designed for the student that wants to go outside the box, that wants that college-level research skill to be able to be and function as a true academic. That wants to explore things that interest them. I got this fancy doctor title, but believe it or not, my doctorate's not all that. It's serious and it's good work, but I wrote my doctorate on Dragon Ball Z. I think it was a deep piece. I've certainly have had several people citing it in different articles and stuff like that, but it was on Japanese anime. I do presentations on video games at academic conferences all the time. It's not the content that makes a piece scholarly. It's what you say and how you execute your conversation, and I will teach you to be able to do that about a multitude of things in the course. Capstone will show you the way to do that and be successful. Now, let's hit a couple of the big questions that have been popping up today. First, I am not saying that Capstone, I'm not saying what course, if you're a sophomore that's going to take it as a junior as well as taking English, or if you're going to take it as a freshman, take it as a sophomore, as well as English 2 pre-AP, which you have to take. I'm not saying what elective to get rid of. I'm not advocating this over a language course or over AVID or anything else like that. Those programs are those programs, and there's a lot of beneficial things that happen in every last program on this campus. Every offering we have has some sort of purpose to it. This is just another one. It's a different way to explore things. It's a chance that if you are independent in thinking, you are driven, you are determined, you have a passion to go beyond plus ultra, you can do so. You have a chance to really look at things deep. But you have to be responsible and able to manage yourself and your time. First 12 weeks, I have 12 weeks to show you how to write, how to speak, how to present like academic scholars. And then it's up to you. As soon as testing started in January, I lost the ability to directly give feedback to my students. That's not to say that I'm unable, I don't have the ability to think about feedback, but I can't walk up to a student, point at the paper, and say, hey, you're missing this. I can see that they're missing it, stand up in front of the class and go, somebody's missing this. Y'all may want to help them find it and give them guidance, but I can't specifically answer things. How does it count in colleges? That's up to you. If you take AP Lang, you pass, make it 3 or higher, you are guaranteed in almost every institution to get credit for the first semester of freshman writing. It's just the way it works. AP Seminar, you pass that with a 3 or a 4, you get the credit component of it, but where does it fit? Well, you're going to have to go talk to the colleges about it. If you look at the College Board's website, there's a whole bunch of colleges that said they support Capstone. The problem is most of the people that supported it weren't the ones that normally have to process transcripts when they suddenly arrive. You're going to have to go to your registrar, your counselor at the school, your admissions officer, show them the work you did in Capstone. Once they see it, they'll see where it can fit. Seminar would be a good replacement for freshman English and or speech. And as far as AP research, it's going to fit where your project fits. And if you do a piece on, say, physics, I'd want credit for physics, not English. It depends on how you advocate. You'll take your presentations, you'll take your writings, you'll take your work, share it, and show them what you're really capable of doing. It's not guaranteed to fit one way or the other. It's going to be up to you. The test is $155. It's a little bit more expensive because you have access to a database. That being said, it has a much higher pass rate, around 85% that we had for seminar. globally, and then I want to say mid-range 30s for AP Lit last year. If you're not really into doing the independent work, if you would like stuff that's more guided, there's a specific mold that you learn how to fit and think within that. It's not some originality, but you're learning how to write a particular style or think and analyze, things in a specific way, then AP Lang and Lit are perfect for you. AP English 3, AP Lang is a great course on nonfiction and rhetorical persuasion. I think it's phenomenal. AP Lit focuses on fiction pieces and looks at how the author's purpose a whole bunch. There are options. Topics are freely chosen by you. Y'all are able to design them, put them together, and decide what you want to talk about and answer. Yes, seminar is writing intensive, without a doubt, but so is Lang, and so is Lit, and so is APUSH, and so is World History AP, there's a lot of things that are writing intensive. My course is writing intensive because I teach it much like a college course, and it's also just what we do. We write the papers, we develop the presentations using the papers as a guideline that we then represent. So we do write a bunch. My AP Lit writes a bunch too, though. They write a research paper for every 6 weeks for the author we're working on. First semester, all the papers were about 5 pages. This semester, they're 8 to 10 pages. It's not because I'm trying to be mean. It's because they need stuff to be able to carry with them to the college after they pass the exam to show, yes, I did learn how to do good quality research writing. Please let me go ahead and have my credit. Let me think. Any other questions? I think those are some of the really big questions that came out. You can stack them. You take both AP Capstone, so AP Seminar, as well as English 2 pre-AP. If you give up the elective, the trade-off is, of course, you might be able to buy some free time in during your senior year. It does count again for the 10-point modifier. It is not a dual class. It's an AP class. It does count as English 3 and English 4. Some point in the next few weeks, the counselors are going to call you in to talk about putting your new schedules together and give you that information. Also, on February 12th at 6:30 p.m. in the lecture halls, I don't know whether it's large or small at this point for me, but the professor from UT's on-ramps program with Miss Miley will be here, and I'll be here. And we're going to be talking about on-ramps as well as AP Capstone to make certain we can provide information to parents and students that have it. Additionally, I'm in 401 and always available to you. Here are some basics of who should be in Capstone. Gifted and talented students, driven, you're curious, tells you a little bit about seminar, how research fits in. There are linked videos inside of the brochure. It's a QR code, so you can just hold the camera of your phone over it. It should access the QR to take you to the piece. If you need to actually talk to me directly, I'm in room 401. My email address is listed there as well. I think it'd be better, of course, to come by and see me. I am happy to talk to you about the program, give you some more information and feedback. And again, I'm looking for those curious people that really want to think outside the box. One last thing I'll add, because I don't think I mentioned this in there, but there is the fact that this program was one asked for by the Ivy League colleges. They came to College Board requesting it, College Board delivered it, and now you know the ins and outs. So if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. See you later.